if you let the Trump tax cuts expire, which he wants to do, she wants to terminate them. If you do that, you will suffer the biggest tax increase in history. There's never been a tax increase like it. On top of which, she wants to add a lot of tax. This country will end up, and I've said this a lot, and I mean it, this country will end up in a depression if she becomes president.
Former President Donald Trump taking questions on key issues weighing on voters at a town hall in Battleground, Pennsylvania yesterday. Today, he will unveil his economic agenda in deeper detail at an event here in New York City. Let's bring in Trump campaign senior advisor Tim Murtaugh. It's great to have you on the show today. I want to play a little bit from Kamala Harris. She released her economic proposal in New Hampshire. Watch.
My vision of an opportunity economy is one where everyone can compete and have a real chance to succeed. Part of my plan is we will expand the tax deduction for startups to $50,000. It's essentially a tax cut for starting a small business. If you earn $1 million a year or more, the tax rate on your long-term capital gains will be 28% under my plan.
And Tim, Reuters reports that Goldman says this. Goldman Sachs sees biggest boost to U.S. economy from Harris win, and that was one of their analysts yesterday. So President Trump is going to lay out his agenda today. What can we expect?
Well, President Trump is going to talk about his plan to make life more affordable for everyday Americans. And what you just heard there from Kamala Harris, I mean, this is one of the things that people are expected to believe that they know is not true. Everything that she has touched has gotten more expensive. And in fact, President Trump has, while he was president, supported small business tax cuts and tax exemptions like she's talking about. And it actually passed the Republican House. It was Democrats in Congress who didn't support that. So what you're going to hear from President Trump today is going to be many things. He's going to talk about a broad plan to make life more affordable for everyday Americans, talking about reducing taxes, cutting energy costs in half for Americans, attacking excessive regulations. You remember during his first term, for every new regulation that was put on the books, he removed 2 of them. He's going to take up what Elon Musk has suggested and form a commission. He's going to be even more aggressive in tackling those regulations. He's going to get crazy spending under control, do away and actually finally kill ideas, bad ideas like the Green New Deal. And he's also going to address the rising costs of housing. All of these things are major problems because of the Biden-Harris administration. She has cast the deciding vote as vice president for much of the spending that has super-fueled and supercharged all of the inflation that Americans are dealing with. Again, the president's going to lay out his plan today to make life more affordable for everyday Americans, and I think he's going to make a lot of news, and I think people will like it.
I will be paying attention to the news. Is there, do you have some examples of where he would cut spending?
Well, what he's going to, I'm not going to reveal any of the details of the speech that he's about to give in New York at around noontime, but I think he's going to talk about things that have laid the groundwork in the Green New Deal. We know that she was an original co-sponsor of the Green New Deal, and of course he's going to completely get that off the tracks and scuttle that. There are going to be a lot of identifiable things, and I think a commission will look at a lot of government efficiencies as well. The idea that he has discussed with Elon Musk, I think it's a very interesting idea. I'm not going to sit here on your show today and write a federal budget, but President Trump is going to lay out his vision to cut government spending, reduce the tax burden, reduce regulations, and really unleash the entrepreneurial spirit of this country, release American energy, and make life more affordable for everyday Americans.
Also yesterday, the Attorney General Merrick Garland went after some Russian influence in interference. We didn't hear much yet. Maybe we will from them about Chinese or Iranian influence in the election. Here is Merrick Garland yesterday. Call 4-5, please.
Look, it's an acceleration of, and it's an increased sophistication of, and it's use of AI and cyber techniques that were not available in earlier elections. So we're just seeing more and more. It's coming faster and faster. It's now AI fueled. They're now using bot farms in a way that was not possible before.
How's the Trump campaign taking in this information and thinking about going forward the next 8.5 weeks?
Well, look, if Kamala Harris, if her candidacy is basically a sitcom that's about nothing, then the Biden administration and Democrats talking about Russian interference is a rerun, as a matter of fact, because we heard this in 2016, we heard it in 2020. Heck, they dragged the entire country through the Russia hoax for 2 entire years and tied up Congress and tied up President Trump in the early days of administration with just that. They know that their candidate, Kamala Harris, has already peaked. Her best days of the campaign are already behind her, and they know it. And so, of course, as they're headed into the home stretch, what do they bring up? Oh, of course, let's talk about Russia again, because they desperately don't want to talk about the candidate that they forced on everyone, who is now already starting to fade.
And I was just thinking about, Iran hacking into accounts on the campaign. So there is that out there as well. Just want to ask you one last question, because I know everyone's counting down to Election Day, but also to the debate. It's just a few days away. And Ian Sams, I won't play this to save time, but Ian Sams is on the Kamala Harris team. He says that Kamala Harris has been dealing with bullies her whole life, and that Donald Trump is offering the same old chaos and division that we've seen for the last decade. Aren't we tired of that? Don't we want to turn the page on that and move forward? What is President Trump's debate prep like?
Well, he preps for debates every day when he's out there talking to the American people and doing rallies and doing interviews. He had a town hall on your network just last night. All of that is debate prep. And, he talks about policies. And I think what the goals are going to be is you have to, for one, Kamala Harris is trying to deny her entire public record, everything that she has stood for since her days as the DA out in San Francisco. She is a San Francisco liberal, and she's desperately trying not to be. The other thing she's trying not to be is the incumbent vice president of the United States. She cannot be allowed to run as an outsider, as though all of the problems facing the country didn't occur on her watch and by her doing. So those are two things that we need to make sure that stay pinned on her leftist record, and the fact that she is the Harris in the Biden-Harris administration. And if President Trump tags her with those things, I think he's going to have a good night.
All right, Tim Murtaugh, thank you. Enjoy that hot weather down there in Florida. We'll talk to you soon.
Love that.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.